If you're over 50 and you feel drained after meals, get foggy in the afternoon, or find yourself craving sweets even when you're eating healthy, you are definitely not alone. So many seniors tell me, "Sarah, I've given up soda, I buy natural foods, I don't understand why my blood sugar still feels out of control." One big reason is that there's a very common natural food that sounds healthy, looks healthy, and is often recommended as healthy, but can quietly send your blood sugar on a roller coaster. Today, we're going to talk about what that food is, why it can be tricky for older adults, and most importantly, some gentle, realistic changes you can make to feel steadier and more energized. We'll go step by step, and I'll give you easier options at every stage so you can do this in a way that fits your life. Hello, my friend, and welcome back. I'm Dr. Sarah Truman, and I'm so glad you're here with me today. I'm a health coach and wellness educator specializing in senior health and active aging. I'm a health educator, not a medical doctor, and this video is not medical advice. Everything I share today is for general educational purposes only. This is for educational purposes only. Please talk to your own doctor or healthcare provider before starting any new exercise, changing your diet, or trying any supplement, especially if you have any health conditions or take medications. Your doctor knows your personal situation best, and nothing I say here replaces their guidance. Everyone's body is different. What works for one person may not work for another, and results vary depending on your health situation. Today, we're going to talk about one natural food that many people over 50 eat or drink every day, thinking it's helping their health when it may actually be making blood sugar swings worse. We'll look at why blood sugar control gets harder as we age, how this particular food fits into the picture, and then I'll share 4 simple habits that may help you steady your blood sugar, your energy, and even your mood. Here's what we'll cover today. First, I'll explain in simple language what blood sugar is and what tends to change after 50. Second, we'll dig into this number 1 natural food that can quietly spike blood sugar and why it's so sneaky. Third, I'll show you how to swap it for better choices without feeling deprived. Fourth, we'll build a simple plate and snack system to help smooth out sugar spikes. Fifth, we'll add a gentle movement routine that can further support steady blood sugar. Then we'll finish with common myths, when to see your doctor, and a quick recap. Let's start with a bit of background. In friendly, non-scary terms, when we talk about blood sugar, we're really talking about how much sugar, or glucose, is floating around in your bloodstream at any given moment. Your body uses this sugar as fuel, especially your brain and your muscles. After you eat, your blood sugar rises. Your body responds by releasing a hormone called insulin, which acts like a key. It helps move that sugar from your blood into your cells where it can be used for energy or stored for later. When we're younger, this system usually works pretty smoothly. But as we get into our 50s, 60s, 70s, and beyond, a few things often change. Our muscles may shrink a bit if we're not very active, and muscle tissue is one of the main places our body stores and uses sugar. We may become a bit less sensitive to insulin, which means the body has to work harder to keep blood sugar in a comfortable range. Our activity levels might go down, and maybe our eating patterns change too. All of this can make blood sugar more likely to swing up and down. These ups and downs can show up in everyday life. You might feel very sleepy after meals. You might get shaky, irritable, or hangry a couple of hours after eating. You might wake up in the night feeling off. Over the long term, big swings in blood sugar are associated with higher risk for health problems, especially for people with prediabetes or diabetes. If you've already been told you have one of those, it's especially important to work with your doctor or diabetes educator on a plan that's safe for you. Nothing we talk about here replaces that. Now, here's the tricky part. Many seniors are trying hard. You cut back on obvious sweets. You say no to soda. You buy things labeled natural, no sugar added, or 100% real. You feel like you're doing the right things, and yet your numbers or your symptoms don't improve the way you'd hoped. That can be so frustrating. The good news is, sometimes just understanding 1 or 2 hidden troublemakers can make a noticeable difference. You don't have to overhaul your entire life. Small adjustments, done consistently, really can help support more stable blood sugar and more stable energy. So let's talk about this number one natural food that so often trips people up. The big one I want to focus on today is fruit juice, especially 100% fruit juice. No sugar added, and all natural juice drinks and smoothies. Now, that might surprise you. You might be thinking, but Sarah, it's just fruit. My doctor told me to eat more fruit. And you're absolutely right that whole fruit can be part of a healthy pattern for many people, as long as your doctor agrees. The problem isn't the fruit itself. The problem is what happens when we strip away the fiber and concentrate the sugar. Let's compare. Imagine an orange. To eat a whole orange, you have to peel it, chew it, and it fills your stomach. You get not only natural sugar, but fiber and water, plus vitamins. That fiber slows down how quickly the sugar gets into your bloodstream. Now think about a glass of orange juice. It might contain the sugar from 3 or 4 oranges without the fiber, and you can drink it in just a few sips. That sugar hits your blood much faster. For someone over 50, especially with slower metabolism or insulin resistance, that quick flood of sugar can cause a sharp spike in blood sugar, followed by a drop. That's when you might feel that crash, tired, shaky, cranky, or craving more sweets. And because juice is seen as healthy, many people drink it daily or even several times a day. That's why the first thing that may help is simply becoming aware of how often fruit juice and natural sweet drinks show up in your day and gently cutting back. Here's a simple step-by-step way to do that. First, take one day and just notice, without changing anything, what you drink. Do you have juice at breakfast? A smoothie mid-morning? A no-sugar-added fruit drink with lunch, maybe sweetened iced tea in the afternoon? You don't need to judge yourself, just observe. Next, pick just one of those drinks to change. Not all of them, just one. For example, if you usually drink a full glass of orange juice in the morning, your first step might be to pour half a glass instead and top the rest with water or sparkling water. You're still enjoying the flavor, but you're gently reducing the sugar load. Then, after a week or so, you could take the next step. Swap that half glass of juice for one small piece of whole fruit and a glass of water. You still get that sweet, fresh taste, plus fiber and more fullness, but the sugar enters your system more slowly. Here are a few possible swaps. Instead of apple juice, try sliced apple with a small handful of nuts if you tolerate nuts. Instead of bottled fruit smoothies, try blending half the usual fruit with some plain yogurt and a spoon of ground flaxseed and drink a smaller portion. Instead of natural fruit punch, try water infused with slices of lemon, berries, or cucumber for flavor. If you live with diabetes and you use juice to treat low blood sugar episodes on your doctor's advice, please do not change that routine on your own. That's a very specific situation. Always follow the plan you and your healthcare team have created. Any changes related to blood sugar and medications should go through your doctor or diabetes educator. Never stop or change medications because of something you hear online. Also, if you have kidney issues or are on a fluid restriction, you'll need to check with your doctor about how much and what type of fluid is safe for you. As you experiment, listen to your body. If a change makes you feel unwell, very shaky, dizzy, or strange, stop and talk to your healthcare provider. If at any time you feel sudden chest pain, sudden shortness of breath, feel like you might faint or have sudden weakness or numbness on one side of your body, that's an emergency. Don't wait to see if it passes. Call emergency services right away. Take your time with these drink swaps. There's no gold star for changing everything overnight. Even slowly cutting back on juice over a month can be helpful. Every small step counts. Now that we've talked about the main natural culprit, fruit juice and similar sweet drinks, let's move to something else that can help, creating a blood sugar-friendly drink and snack routine for your day. For many people over 50, drinks and snacks are where hidden sugars sneak in. You might not eat much dessert, but you sip sweetness all day long. Changing this pattern gently can do a lot to smooth out how you feel. Here's a simple routine you might consider, always with your doctor's approval. First, think about your morning drink. If you currently start with juice, sweet coffee drinks, or sweet tea, consider these options. You could have a glass of plain water first before anything else. Some people like warm water with lemon. If you drink coffee or tea, try slowly cutting back on sugar. For example, if you usually use 2 teaspoons, go down to 1.5 for a week, then 1, and so on. Or try a sprinkle of cinnamon for flavor. If you enjoy a smoothie, make it balanced. Instead of all fruit, include some protein like unsweetened yogurt and maybe a spoon of nut butter or seeds, and make the portion smaller. Second, plan your mid-morning or afternoon snack so it doesn't cause a big sugar surge. A helpful rule of thumb is to pair something with natural sugar, like fruit, with some protein or healthy fat. For example, a small banana with a spoon of peanut butter, berries with plain Greek yogurt, half an apple with a slice of cheese if you tolerate dairy, a few whole grain crackers with hummus. This combination helps slow down digestion, so your blood sugar rises more gently instead of shooting up and crashing down. Third, choose mostly unsweetened drinks during the day. Good options can include plain water, still or sparkling, herbal teas, hot or cold, black coffee or tea, if your doctor says caffeine is okay for you, water flavored with a slice of orange, lemon, or a few crushed berries. If you miss the fizz of soda, plain sparkling water with a squeeze of citrus can feel surprisingly satisfying. If you find plain water boring, try keeping a pitcher in the fridge with cucumber and mint or lemon and ginger. Sometimes having it ready makes it easier to choose. Now, a few safety notes. If you've been told to watch your fluids because of heart failure or kidney disease, always follow your doctor's limits. If you take water pills, also called diuretics, talk with your doctor about what's right for you. Don't suddenly start drinking much more or much less without their guidance. If you have trouble swallowing or have been told you're at risk for choking, be cautious with things like nuts or raw carrots. Softer options like yogurt, smooth nut butters spread thin, or soft fruits may be better, but check with your healthcare team or a speech therapist or dietitian if you have one. Give yourself credit for every small step you take. Even switching one sugary drink each day for water or herbal tea is a win. How does this sound so far? If you'd like, you can let me know in the comments what your favorite drink swap has been. Now let's move on to another thing that often helps: what's actually on your plate. Drinks are one piece, but the way we build our meals can also make a big difference to blood sugar and energy. The third key habit is learning to build a simple, balanced plate that helps slow down how quickly sugar from your meal reaches your blood. A common idea used by many dietitians is something called the plate method. Let me describe it in very simple terms. Imagine a regular dinner plate, not a huge platter, just a normal plate. Now, mentally divide that plate into 4 parts like a pie. Half of the plate, so 2 of the 4 parts, is for non-starchy vegetables. These are things like leafy greens, broccoli, green beans, peppers, cucumbers, zucchini, cauliflower, cabbage, and so on. These foods are generally lower in sugar and higher in fiber, which helps slow digestion. 1/4 of the plate is for protein. This could be chicken, fish, eggs, tofu, beans, lentils, or lean meat, depending on what you enjoy and what your doctor recommends. Protein helps you feel full and steady. The last 1/4 of the plate is for higher fiber carbohydrates, sometimes called complex carbs. This might be brown rice instead of white, whole grain pasta instead of regular, quinoa, barley, or a small serving of potatoes with the skin on. Whole fruit can sometimes go here too if it's part of the meal and fits your plan. Let me give you a few simple meal ideas using this pattern. For breakfast, instead of a big bowl of sugary cereal and juice, you might have scrambled eggs with spinach and tomatoes, a slice of whole grain toast with a thin spread of avocado, and some berries on the side. You've got veggies, protein, healthy fat, and fiber. For lunch, instead of a large white bread sandwich and a glass of juice, you might choose a bowl of vegetable soup, a salad with mixed greens, beans, or grilled chicken, a sprinkle of seeds, and a slice of whole grain bread. Water or herbal tea on the side. For dinner, half your plate could be green beans and a mixed vegetable medley, 1/4 grilled salmon or baked chicken, and 1/4 brown rice or a small baked potato with the skin, maybe some fruit for dessert if it fits your plan. If cooking is hard for you, there are shortcuts. Frozen vegetables can be just as nutritious as fresh and are often easier to prepare. Pre-washed salad mixes save time. Canned beans, rinsed under water, are a quick protein source. Look for lower sodium versions when you can. If you have kidney disease, some vegetables, fruits, and beans may need to be limited because of potassium or phosphorus. In that case, a kidney specialist or dietitian is the best person to guide which foods and portions are safe for you. Please don't make big changes without involving them. The goal is not perfection. Some days your plate will look more balanced than others, and that's okay. But if most of your meals most days follow this general pattern, research suggests it may help support more stable blood sugar, better energy, and overall health. Now that we've talked about what you drink and what you eat, here's another gentle habit that can make a surprisingly big difference: moving a little after meals. The fourth key habit is adding small, safe amounts of movement after you eat. Think of it as clearing the sidewalk so your body can move sugar out of your bloodstream and into your muscles more easily. When you move, your muscles use more sugar for energy. That's why even gentle activity can help support steadier blood sugar. You do not need to go to the gym or do anything intense. In fact, please don't jump into vigorous exercise without your doctor's approval. Simple is best, especially if you're just starting. Here's one very gentle routine you might try, again, only if your doctor says it's safe for you. First, after a meal, maybe 20 to 30 minutes after you finish eating, stand up slowly. Check in with your body. If you feel dizzy, very weak, or unsteady, sit back down and skip the movement for now. Safety comes first. If you feel okay, step 1 is to walk around your home for about 5 minutes. You can walk down the hallway, around the kitchen, or even march in place while holding onto the back of a sturdy chair or the counter. The goal is simply to keep your body gently moving. Step 2, if you're comfortable, is to add some easy sit-to-stands from a chair. Sit on a sturdy chair with your feet flat on the floor, shoulder width apart. Scoot to the edge of the chair, lean your chest slightly forward, and press through your heels to stand up. Then slowly sit back down with control. You can use your hands on the armrests if you need support. Do just a few, maybe 3 to 5, and stop if it feels too hard. Step 3. If standing isn't safe or comfortable for you, you can do simple seated marching instead. Sit tall in a chair and gently lift one knee a few inches, then lower it, then the other knee, like you're slowly marching while seated. Do this for a minute or two while breathing steadily. If you use a walker, cane, or wheelchair, work within your abilities. Gentle arm movements, ankle circles, or seated marching can still help get your blood flowing. If you have severe balance problems, always hold on to something sturdy or have someone with you. Always stop immediately if you feel chest pain or pressure, unusual shortness of breath, sudden dizziness, sudden weakness, or pain that feels sharp or alarming. Those can be signs that something more serious is going on. If symptoms feel severe or like an emergency, call for medical help right away. Over time, if this feels good and your doctor supports it, you might slowly increase your after-meal movement from 5 minutes toward 10 or 15. But again, there's no rush. Even a few minutes of gentle walking can be helpful. Let's talk about a few common myths and mistakes around natural foods and blood sugar, so you can feel more confident about your choices. Many people believe that if something is natural, organic, or no sugar added, it must automatically be good for blood sugar. But here's what we actually know. Sugar is sugar to your body, whether it comes from cane sugar, honey, maple syrup, or agave. Yes, some of these contain small amounts of minerals, but in terms of blood sugar impact, they are all concentrated sources of sugar. A tablespoon of honey, for example, can raise blood sugar just as much as a tablespoon of white sugar. So replacing white sugar with honey everywhere doesn't necessarily solve blood sugar problems. Another common belief is that fruit juice is always healthy because it comes from fruit and often has vitamins added. But again, without the fiber, the sugar from juice gets into your system very quickly. Even if the label says no sugar added, the natural sugar is still there in large amounts. No sugar added just means they didn't pour in extra sugar. It does not mean the food is low in sugar. A third mistake some people make is swinging too far in the other direction and trying to cut out all carbohydrates completely without medical guidance. For some people, very low-carb diets may be appropriate, but for others, they can lead to fatigue, constipation, or problems with certain medications. Research is still ongoing about which patterns are best for which people, but most experts agree that quality matters. Whole, high-fiber carbohydrates like vegetables, beans, lentils, whole grains, and whole fruits are very different from sugary drinks and candy. It's usually more helpful to focus on swapping refined, low-fiber carbs for higher-fiber options rather than trying to remove an entire food group on your own. Finally, some people believe that if they take medication for blood sugar, what they eat doesn't matter much. In reality, food choices and movement still play a big role. Medications are important and life-saving for many, but they work best alongside a supportive lifestyle. Never change your medication on your own, but don't underestimate the power of small, everyday choices. Now, I want to be very clear about when it's time to get medical help instead of trying to manage things with food and lifestyle alone. While these tips may help many people feel more steady and energized, please see your doctor soon if you notice signs that your blood sugar may be running high or low regularly. These can include being unusually thirsty all the time, needing to urinate very often, especially at night, blurry vision that doesn't go away, slow healing cuts or infections, or unexplained weight loss. Also pay attention if you feel shaky, sweaty, confused, or very weak between meals. That can sometimes be a sign of low blood sugar, especially if you're on certain medications. Seek immediate medical help. Call emergency services. If you ever experience chest pain or pressure, sudden shortness of breath, sudden dizziness or fainting, sudden weakness or numbness on one side of your body, trouble speaking, severe or unusual pain or confusion that comes on quickly, those are red flags that something serious may be happening, like a heart attack or stroke, and time is critical. Don't wait to see if it goes away. If you've been told you have diabetes or prediabetes, it's very important to keep your regular checkups, blood work, and eye and foot exams. Ask your doctor if you can be referred to a registered dietitian or diabetes educator. They can help you personalize these general ideas to your situation. Let's quickly recap what we covered today so you can take the key ideas with you. First, we talked about how blood sugar naturally becomes harder to manage after 50 and how big swings can leave you feeling tired, foggy, and out of balance. Second, we revealed one of the biggest natural culprits for sneaky blood sugar spikes: fruit juice and similar sweet drinks, even when they're labeled 100% juice or no sugar added. Without the fiber, these drinks can push sugar into your bloodstream very quickly. Third, we looked at gentle, realistic swaps, cutting back juice portions, watering them down, and moving toward whole fruits with water or unsweetened drinks instead of relying on juice. Fourth, we talked about building a simple, balanced plate: half non-starchy vegetables, a quarter protein, and a quarter higher fiber carbs to slow down sugar absorption and help you feel fuller and more stable. Fifth, we added a very gentle after-meal movement habit, like 5 minutes of walking or chair marching, to help your muscles use some of the sugar from your meal. And along the way, we cleared up some myths about natural sugars and no sugar added labels, and we talked about important red flag symptoms that should send you to your doctor or to emergency care. Remember, you don't have to change everything at once. Start with one small change that feels manageable. Maybe that's swapping just your morning glass of juice for a piece of fruit and water, or adding a 5-minute hallway walk after dinner. Small steps repeated over time really do add up. Be patient and kind with yourself. Your body has been doing its best for you for many years. It deserves gentle, steady support, not punishment or harsh rules. Progress can be slow and uneven, and that's okay. Every positive choice you make is a gift to your future self. If you found this helpful, I'd be so grateful if you'd give this video a thumbs up. It helps other seniors find this information too, and it lets me know what topics are useful for you. Have you noticed a difference when you cut back on juice or sweet drinks? I'd love to hear your experience in the comments. And if you're not subscribed yet, consider joining our community. I share new videos every week to help you stay strong, healthy, and independent as you age, with simple, realistic habits you can do at home. Remember, I'm a health educator, not a medical doctor, and everything here is for educational purposes only, so always check with your own doctor before making changes to your diet, exercise, or supplements. If you'd like to keep going, I recommend watching my video next on gentle daily habits to support steadier blood sugar after 50. It goes perfectly with what we talked about today and gives you even more practical ideas. I'll put the link on screen and in the description. Thank you so much for spending this time with me today. I truly appreciate you being here. Take good care of your body, listen to its signals, stay in close touch with your healthcare team, and remember that small steps really do matter. Take care of yourself, my friend, and I'll see you in the next video.